Welcome back to Week 9 of the North American LCS. As we turn to our next game, there's a cultural bridge that unites NME eSports and TSM that goes all the way across the pond to Denmark. We thought before we throw our three Danes into the arena and force them to do battle, we'd follow Trashy, Bjergsen, and Santorin as they meet up for a taste of home. It's a piece I suggested we call Three Danes in a Bakery.
The only Europeans in NA LCS is Danish, when there's only like 5 million Danish people, which is kind of interesting.
We grew up in Jutland, which is like the big part where there's a lot of farmers and stuff. And he's like a city boy from Copenhagen.
He's one of the smart kids. We're just normal guys.
We don't like smart kids. Like big city, fancy haircut.
I live outside of Copenhagen, like 20 kilometers. It's not really the city life because we didn't have a lot of stuff around us. Like we don't have McDonald's, for example. In all the big cities you have McDonald's in Denmark, so that's one of the things.
Even we had McDonald's. Same.
Today we went to a Danish pastry and we got some of the stuff we could get at home. I think the thing I miss the most is just my parents and my family.
Probably miss my family and my mom's cooking a lot. Cause here we like eat like fast food, and she makes like really good lasagna. She makes good frikadelle. I don't think that actually has an English word. My dad is good at grilling. He's a grill.
Sometimes I miss the weather because, like me, I'd rather have more clothing on and then feeling more comfortable than having to take more off, because at some point you can't take more off and then you're...
It's so hot right now too.
Yeah, it's true.
2 rum balls.
2 rum balls?
Yeah, those ones, yeah.
Thank you. Gentlemen, go.
I got a rum ball with like no sprinkles. It's made of stuff they collect from the floor after making the other pastries. Oh really? That's what people say. Yeah.
And
that's why it's absolutely disgusting and delicious.
So because of eat really healthy, then I can't actually eat anything here.
I don't think Santorin had a good time today. I don't think I myself could do that. I think I like too much sweet stuff.
When I visit my grandparents, I would still like eat stuff. Every morning you get those and you get hindbærsnitter. I don't know the English word for that.
It's like Pop-Tarts, but they're like good.
Better.
Yeah, I've never had a Pop-Tart. I don't want to ruin the memory of them.
I had one Pop-Tart and I was like, this is so bad. If you ever go visit your grandparents or something, most of the time you would see stuff like this and you would probably eat it. If you're not Santorin, then you would eat it. It was really nice to get that taste again and just get some memories from back home. Just in general, hanging out with Bjergsen and Santorin is fun. They're nice people, so it has been really enjoyable.
It was especially nice to have the rum balls. It's definitely something I miss. It's like a little Danish dessert treat. It's nice to get out and try these things that kind of remind you of home and give you a nostalgic feeling.
If you take them to a bakery and you give them a Danish, is that technically cannibalism?
No.
Food for thought, though. Food for thought.
The answer is no. I like the effort, but the answer is no. All right, well, simple enough. Enough of them being friends. It's time for them to do battle. Let's send it over to our casters to set up for our next game.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great attempt, Zyrene. I liked it. Hello, everyone. I'm Riving to Biz in the third, and with me is Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler. We're gearing up for our 4th match of the day, NME eSports versus TSM. There is still a scenario here where NME can grab 7th place if there is a 3-way tie between teammate NME and Cloud9 here. But to do that, they'll need to get a win right now.
Yeah, and that would be a huge coup for Team NME. If they were able to pull it off. It would keep them from playing in that spring promotion tournament. That being said, they've really been struggling in the second half of the split. Enemy have lost 8 of their last 9 games, with their only win coming against the 10th place TDK.
After commenting as well that things started to feel like they were coming together, the team was playing as a cohesive unit. Troublesome to see here at the end of the split. And with Gravity's loss now, we've got a 4-way tie for first place, and there's a chance that TSM could still get a first-round bye here, but they'd have to go 2-0 this week, and they've been looking at a lot of 0-2s recently.
That is true. And also just as important for TSM is using the last couple of games to get back into shape for the players, because they have been making individual mistakes. All of the members, yes, even Bjergsen too.
Yeah.
They have said, though, that they're very happy with Reginald stepping in, as the coach and directing more of the conversation and making them focus. So we'll see if the results will actually stack up. Loco is still going to be on the stage, by the way.
That's right. It somewhat worked before, Kobe, when Reginald went to top lane for picks and bans, right? Things helped there.
They were working so late, the really late nights there. Loco's tired, that's why he's yawning.
Can't be doing much. Can't be doing that on LCS days. Now, Dyrus explains why TSM isn't getting caught up in the race for playoff seeding.
So generally for a regular top team where you want to be as highly seeded as possible so you can get the bye, but otherwise, you want to be against the worst teams possible when it comes to seeding. But when it comes to TSM, we don't really care who we play against because we're probably going to win.
I don't think that needs a comment. Fantastic. Let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's going to be NME eSports. At the top lane is Flares Trashy in the jungle, Inox in mid, Otter at AD carry, Body Drop at support with Coach Fragnatic.
And on the red side, it is TSM. Up top is Dyrus in the jungle, Santorin. Mid, Bjergsen, AD carry Wild Turtle, support Lustboy, and Coach Loco Doco. Still up there on stage with the boys. Yeah, so that is the attitude to have.
It is, though.
If all you're looking at is first place and you're a first or nothing team, then it doesn't matter where you start in the playoffs because you're going to beat everybody.
So we also heard Impulse's coach kind of just being like, we don't practice for one team. We just practice and we'll use whatever we have. That kind of makes you think, they feel like they're just good enough to beat everybody with what they're bringing to the table. And you're right, Kobe. It is kind of what you need to feel here towards the end of the split so you can just run over the teams that you are actually better than. We'll see if TSM can put that power onto the table here as they face a struggling enemy. Getting into our 4th game of the day, we are into picks and bans, and we'll see what these teams have for each other as we get down the line. So a few bans back and forth. We'll continue to update those for you as well.
Yeah, let me, I'll try and keep you guys updated here. We're still having our problems with our showing the bans. So the first 2 from enemies so far are Azir and Annie. They're just going alphabetically.
Yep.
No, just kidding. And TSM have banned Rise and Sivir.
Keep it in the A's. Azir, Annie, Kalista, once we get all 6 on, they will pop up on your screen, so we'll know that as we get into the picks and what the teams are considering as they make those selections. TSM, like they said, or like Dyrus said, they're feeling pretty good about this, so probably just comfort picks across the board, or maybe we'll get some kind of outside-the-box things. We've heard TSM at the end of numerous splits saying this is the time we're going to try and pan out, do different things. We saw Santorin taking the Vi again, and a few other things from TSM. We'll see if we get that again.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to go a bit deeper into the AD carry champion pools, as we have done earlier today as well, with Kalista and Sivir both being banned. We are into the realm of Corki and Tristana. We shall see where we end up on that spectrum. Otter has played a lot of Vayne as well for enemy, so AD carry probably not the first role on the docket to fill. Italy is going to once again make a first-round appearance here. First picked for NME.
A lot of pressure in that early game jungle.
Yeah. Technically, we should keep the option open for swapping it over to Inox and having it be a flex pick, but it's just such a strong jungler right now that that's what we will assume that she goes.
Santorin seems quite interested with that first pick.
Yeah, I mean, every single jungler is up, so he feels fine.
Yeah, they've had Gragas all the time anyways, so why not?
Gragas, Rek'Sai, Evelynn, whatever his
whatever
desires.
He wants now. There's that Corki we were talking about. Shen has also been getting quite a bit of play time now. And it looks like it may be picked up for the side of Team SoloMid, not showing too much. Shen could still be Lustboys. However, one of those 0-2 weeks was 2 plays of Shen on Lustboy as they were trying that champion out. Not the reason it happened, but just part of the composition that went into a struggling week. Janna and Maokai, however, picked up by Team SoloMid to start things off, so they go top and bottom, respectively.
Yeah, interesting switch there last second for TSM. Trying to play a little mind game in Champion Select. They do get the instant double lock-in as soon as they swap over to Maokai and Janna, though. Yeah. They bring a little bit of disengage and a little bit of frontline as well when faced with the Nidalee. Maokai, very reliable engage. We'll see if Dyrus can pull off the home guard teleports as well as the Righteous Glory engages to try and get to the back line of the poke composition.
The Kench play, Kobe, could come through.
I would actually love to see it because
I would like to see it. I don't like playing against it, but it would be fun to watch the pros go at it.
Yeah,
I like Freddy's play.
He's got a really strong kit, I think, on live. I think that we will wait until the LCS is on the patch that's currently live, and the next round of buffs do come in for him.
Bumps, yep.
For North America, even though he already made his debut in Europe. I think that extra little bump will spur the North American teams on to pick him up. As of right now, though, going to stick with Nautilus, another really fat, tanky frontliner here for NME, and probably going to come from the bottom lane, so it won't be quite as buff as usual, but could very easily be a top lane Nautilus to fight the Maokai.
Very true. Keeping that as a flex all the way through. We saw the Corki hovered, but the Tristana now picked up by Team SoloMid. Maybe some early mind games.
Tristana plus Janna, that is some real turret pushing power right there.
You're going to expect that goes into a different lane and crushes it down immediately, so Team SoloMid can start to get more map control. Dylers with a safe 2v1 champion once he gets into it in Maokai, so really going to work out for him if they need to there. What is this? These, I should say, final two picks here from NME. Continuously hovering the Kench, paying a little bit of respect to him, but like you said, may not get any showtime today. They do, however, need that support if they're going to get it in an AD carry.
Right, so the scenario in which I think you do pick Tahm Kench is not being presented here by TSM. It's a scenario where your opponents have assassins or your opponents have a really strong pick, because Tom, his greatest ability is to save people from hard CC, save people from assassins. And that's not really what TSM are showing now. So instead, they're going to take the Morgana, which is a black shield. They're going to be able to negate a lot of CC in the engage here from TSM. Hovering over a couple of mid picks here for Bjergsen, whatever he desires to go into Victor.
It's Turmoil.
He's very confident on his Ahri and has been able to assassinate many of Victor.
Which one will he pick?
I think they do need a definite high source of DPS for the late game for TSM.
That's a good call,
because they aren't showing much else.
Everything else is kind of picking up and peeling off damage right now. So it could be that Ezreal still picked up by Bjergsen, gives him a lot of mobility, but we have seen that mid-Ez go down.
Yeah, they have a lot of disengage, so
yeah,
Poke is probably going to be their last pick here.
Right.
Gragas and Janna are the king and queen of disengage and like to keep a mid lane Poke champion safe. Kog'Maw will be just that.
5 out of the last 6 games, Santorin has been able to grab that Gragas. They also go for that Janna all the time and then fit a composition around it. The Tristana is also able to get in there, something that was banned against them recently. No, just the jungler on that one. I looked at the stats wrong. But going in now with this composition, we will see if that allows TSM to knock down the turrets. What can NME bring out with this composition? They have a little bit of poke from Nidalee, but what are they looking for with that composition?
Yeah, it's a little bit scary for NME because Nautilus is their main engage tool. And yes, this will end up being a top lane Nautilus, so he will get tankier much quicker. However, it's still hard for even a Nautilus to get in the backline to a Kog'Maw because Dredgeline is really hard to get past these big bodies of Maokai and Gragas, and they have the Janna to reset, so it's very hard for even Nautilus to get back there because only his ultimate is point and click, and Bjergsen would have to have very poor positioning to be an easy target, and don't think he will present that opportunity.
No, that's something he said in the past that they are very confident about, is their fighting mechanics and prowess right there. So we're about to hit the riff, so send us your game predictions. Use hashtag NME win or hashtag TSM win, and we can see how you're calling this game as we tally up your votes throughout. You see the compositions on your screen right here. We've seen a lot of Nidalee jungle providing some harass in that early game. We'll see if Trashy can get under the skin of Santorin, start things off. Jungle pressure here is going to be big, expecting the 2v1 with that Trist and Janna being picked up again by Team SoloMid. NME versus TSM. We are on the Rift for Game 4 here in Week 9.
All right. Let's see here. No crazy openings as far as the item builds are concerned. I am really a fan of the coin starts, though. It's probably my favorite support gold generation item now, just because of how good the speed boost is of the fully upgraded talisman. So Lustboy on Janna will be providing plenty of mobility to his team, both through the passive and through the active there. That will come from his completed talisman.
I feel like as a support player as well, it really allows you to stay safe in lane. You're not always going for relics. You don't force yourself into anything.
Yeah, I mean,
gold.
It gets you a ton of gold.
Gets you a lot of gold.
I think Freak was saying that he thinks it's the most valuable gold generation item.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Unless you're, I don't even think Spellblade, even if you use it on cooldown, or Spell
Thieves.
Thieves.
Keep hitting Tormented Soil on people. You can get multiple ticks on that sometimes too.
Anyways,
we'll
those,
see. Freak will do the math at some point.
Those buffs to the coin definitely
for sure
helping it out quite a bit.
You can see Week 1 matchup on your screen. 35 minutes, so just under the average time, or around it, I should say. And a pretty bloody game, so we should expect the same here. TSM will fight if they get engaged on early. Looks like they have their deep wards, yep.
Yeah, deep wards and invade here from NME. So they're looking to have strong side up top, so NME are going to have dual lane head up there and start on the weak side, or on TSM side of their strong side, excuse me. Let's see how they split the jungle camps. Right now, it's just going to be one camp start for NME, while TSM are actually starting 2 camps at the same time.
Going to prep that, yep.
Santorin going to grab just the Grump buff and allow Turtle and Lustboy to get the lane quicker, just in case there was a 2v2 scenario. They will see that it is in fact not a 2v2. And they will continue normally after this, sharing the experience there and there. And meanwhile, NME with the, as we said, starting off on TSM side. So let's see if they collapse really quickly to burn through this, or head over. It looks like body drop even fainting towards mid.
Yeah, just for a second. Maybe he was deciding if it would have been a good idea to see what the positioning was, but he changes his mind quickly. Heads back towards this top side, and going to see the jungles now kind of parallel, changing each other's sides and taking each other's reds and buffs.
Yeah, so let's keep track of exactly how many camps each team got out of this. Because of the 2 camp start from TSM, because they had their AD and support helping in the jungle at the very beginning, as of right now, they've taken 4 camps when Santorin finishes this one, which is 1 camp ahead of NME, but they did sacrifice a bit of pushing power. And NME have a little tiny bit lead on that top turret. The thing is, it can be made up very easily by that Janna plus Tristana that we mentioned. So with them sending Trashy back into the jungle, they've also been able to almost catch back up on camps. Santorin still basically 1 ahead of Trashy right now, but very, very even, very close as far as how the lane swaps play. Back out, small gold lead there for TSM. Gonna come through after they finish this turret. It'll come, I promise.
Nicely done all around. Much better for NME as well.
There it is, 200.
Looking from the beginning of the season to now, they picked up a win over Gravity in that first day of Week 1, but then it was TSM and Liquid, 2 teams that are very good at controlling the map. Kind of took NME apart in those first weeks, and you're really seeing the NME definitely better at the early game situations now. Unfortunately, not enough to give them the wins when they wanted it in the middle of the season, but coming around.
Only being behind a couple hundred gold is great for them. Actually, it's only 100 for them. So that's definitely better than average.
Absolutely. One of the teams that has the hardest time at 10 minutes, usually down around 780 to 800 gold to their opponents. An unfortunate event. Here they're trying to stop that, stave off that pressure. A little bit of a roam from Lustboy to get some deep wards in. Could pay off soon. They're already starting to put down pinks, so you can tell they feel comfortable with the pressure around that mid area. They feel like they have control.
So both teams left their top laners there after the turret died to grab the extra couple minions, but NME have opted to leave flares up there even longer and not swap him back. Turtle has gone up to meet already, so the 2 versus 1 remains up top, and Darius just went back to heal at the fountain. Now he's going to get pushed off of this whole wave, so Darius does not receive any of this experience for the huge cannon wave here, as he has to walk back and try and stay safe.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, enemy getting a ton of damage on the turret as well. TSM making a move mid instead.
There's the Ghost. Inox, only one summoner used there. Pushed off of mid lane. We'll see what kind of pressure TSM gets off of this as they are about to lose bottom. Looks like they're going to put a little bit more pressure top, as that looks like where Santorin is headed.
Yep, Tristana, Janna going to try and answer that turret damage.
Easy peasy.
And Flare is actually teleporting in to cut off Dyrus here. They want to kill Dyrus.
Very deep. Haven't seen Dyrus get focused like this at the top lane in quite some time. Looks like Enemy is going to repeat some history here and start that one off to take him down first. A very deep TP off a very deeply placed ward.
Yep, those wards are becoming fairly common after swapping back from these lane swaps. You have to be so careful. Said Dyrus had to stay safe after recalling to the fountain and making his way back out there. Very dangerous call for TSM to actually have him go for that blind when they knew that enemy had plenty of time on that side of the map and they've got deep wards. Great job by enemy recognizing that they had the advantage and taking the initiative to use their teleport for that play. This is it's a play that you can mirror. Either top laner can go for the offensive play and teleport into try and kill the other one. TSM opted for the defensive opening.
It had to be unexpected by TSM too. They just pushed Inox out of mid lane with a Ghost, so they're not expecting a teleport engage. You know, enemies resetting.
You better expect it.
Guess not,
what
though.
I'm saying. You gotta you gotta expect that.
You really have to. So it catches TSM off guard just in the beginning. That's enough for the one kill and enough to pretty much even out the gold. 2 turrets on both sides, and they have pretty much dropped at the same rate. So we might get a volatile section here in the mid lane. But it looks like the laning phase kind of stays true. Enough of the waves are pushed up here. Outer and Wild Turtle just keep soaking up a few. And you can see Wild Turtle finally leaving that top lane as he has expended those resources. So a slow game to start, and I think that really benefits enemy so they can get themselves off the ground here, get a few things going for themselves. TSM, like we mentioned, and they feel they have the upper hand no matter what here. So late games is going to be troublesome no matter what for enemy.
TSM, they do have AP Kog'Maw in the mid lane. And Bjergsen is doing really, really well for himself, being isolated in the matchup versus Victor.
Yep.
This is definitely... well, I guess he got one gank from Santorin. All right. We will have to credit...
He's also got incredible warding around his
Santorin
top side, too.
there.
Stay safe.
So Santorin did make that one visit mid. I think it was only one. But his presence was definitely felt. And Bjergsen very happy with the early stages of his game. Tier already stacking up quite nicely.
Trashy, haven't seen him making too many moves to figure out where Santorin is or the rest of the team and really give them too much trouble. So they've had a clean game of any enemy jungle pressure here. 53 to 57 here as we see some of the AD carries farming out. Otter does have a lead in that lane, but we have not seen them match up. It's pretty much been free farm for these guys. It's going to make or break the situation once we get that first fight. First dragon went over to enemy as we saw TSM go for that top turret. So far enemy working very well off the ball, making sure TSM doesn't get any free kills for themselves that really catapults this game into any situation they can't handle. Good blue buff transfer over to Inox. We'll see if he can start pushing that lane a little bit more on Bjergsen, maybe get an opportunity there. Roam from body drop to the mid lane, but I don't think they're going to get anything out of it. It seems like safety for Inox here. TSM keeps inching those wards up ever so slowly. Might get their own teleport play here soon.
Yep, looking to make a play on the respawn of the blue buff here. TSM, a lot of deep wards concentrated in this quadrant. They head in to cut off flares, but he plays very safe and is able to avoid the 3-man attack. Meanwhile, down bottom, Jinx has gone into pushing mode here. Otter trying to shove out the bottom lane so that he can get up and try and defend. TSM need to make something happen. 3 lanes of income for enemy currently. They're trying to make something happen with this big wave that they've built up. They don't want that to go right into Flare's hands. But not much they can do about it. Body drop heads over.
Got him. I'd be surprised if something didn't happen, but the safety of enemy is probably going to make it so.
5 members mid for TSM. They rotate everybody to the mid lane. They really want to take out this mid turret. The last of the outers standing here for enemy. And Otter's still working his way up towards that secondary turret on Jinx.
There's no vision for him down there. He is on Mission Impossible right now, and he needs to start heading back out. He does have the team sweeping down. A little bit of a defensive wall he can escape with there, but good push. Definitely draws TSM's priority back down so they cannot keep pressuring that top turret.
It broke TSM's siege on mid lane. Their 5 members dispersed from mid lane. They do not pressure the turret. They do not collect 200 gold and pass go.
Well, they should be collecting gold if they enter their jungle. Those 2 pink wards from TSM have been there forever. It's like enemy is avoiding their own jungle right now, which was good for a few seconds ago, but they still got to get in there and start sweeping things out here. Trying a little bit of an offensive move for themselves, which is still good. They are not scared to get their hands dirty. Now for the mid turret, minute 30 onto Dragon. Any bit of pressure here would be great for both teams so they can get that second one.
TSM happy to just trade farm wave for wave here. Both teams just trying to catch the big waves. Nidalee not being able to pull off any early game plays except for the teleport players. And TSM fairly happy, you know. AP Kog'Maw scaling up. That's what they are looking for.
So, kind of AP Kog'Maw goes through laning phase easy. As enemy, what's your second move? Where do you start warding? How do you start the fights if you want to?
Well, Dragon's in 45 seconds coming up here, so they can try and gain vision control around the Dragon. They do have plenty of power for anyone who does face check at this point in the game.
Yep.
Not a lot of magic resist for TSM, so
that's true.
Victor does have a more powerful combo still.
Be interesting to see what happens on level 11 as well. Seems like everybody's pretty even on that clip of getting themselves leveled up. Both mid laners 9 and at the same experience bar as well. Looking at that, where the gold was around 10 minutes, definitely better for enemy. Maybe even had that lead at the point. Now 600 gold in their favor.
Here it is.
As they go for Dragon number 2, and it will be pressured.
Set up their deep wards ahead of time. Victor does still need to make his way from mid lane, though.
Yeah.
TSM look like they're already moving into contest. They do have to walk in through the fog of war. And they scare enemy off just with positioning. Bjergsen lands some poke early. That's going to be pretty big.
Both summoners up. Actually, every summoner up looking around the map on both sides. Trashy Smite down for now as he makes his way over. I think he might have tried to get something onto Dyrus or just take the Gromp out as he was fighting it. And back and forth. The game of tug of war now begins as they jockey for position in front of the Dragon Pit. Poke comes in. This is where Bjergsen and Trashy come up very big in this situation. You can see both teams, while they're staying grouped, also spread enough so they can dodge the spears and not get hit out. So instead of being volatile, they slowed each other down. They want to fight, but very, very cautious about that situation. Trashy still picking up what he can around the jungle, trying to get himself built up a little bit more. 45 to 39 there, as he's keeping focused on the jungle. We've seen Santorin in lane a few times on Inox.
Yeah, I mean, I think TSM do need to be the ones to take the initiative. I feel like the onus is on them for the early game play here because of how ridiculous this TSM fight is going to get.
Right.
And
plus
here
now,
they go.
If anything happens, they just disengage. And they're not going to contest it.
All right, so they finally got it. Now, once we do get to the mid game, it's going to be really hard for enemy to crack through the front line and do anything to threaten Bjergsen here, because Maokai does not have to be an engaged champion. He can play Peel as well and use his ultimate just to bolster their front line. If he applies the ultimate as well to Gragas sitting on the front line, even if Nautilus engages and they try and go backline, both backlines try and kill the front lines, the team with Maokai should be more resilient. And the AP Kog'Maw firing from the backline will definitely take its toll. So I can see why TSM are fine with trading farm and giving up the first dragon. And the second, second doesn't do a whole lot for you, so it's really on them.
There's been a team in the past to vocally say they are happy with letting a few dragons go by. Still using that late game control. Bjergsen knows he's getting charged up quite nicely. Let's see where he's at on that tier. 390 out of 750 at this point, or just a little bit more after clearing out that camp. Trashy, very focused on the minions. Still have not seen Enemy trying to go for that fight. Like you said, Kobe, once Enemy gets to these turrets, you're going to have to hope TSM's taking a lot of spears and have no HP, because there's not a lot of pressure there.
Well, it looks like Inox is actually building some damage as well. When the top lane Nautilus first emerged in China, there was a Rod of Ages Nautilus, but since then the most common build has become the full tank Nautilus. You know, Righteous Glory and full defensive items. But he has gone for the early Rod of Ages here for Flares, and he was the one who got the first blood. So he's trying to make that boost worth it. The Rod's going to take a while to stack up, but he will be much more threatening. Nautilus doesn't have the greatest AP ratios, but he does have some.
I think Flares is a guy that can make a little bit of noise on that. His Hecarim room play was always pretty strong in lane. Gets himself into trouble in a few situations towards the late game, but going ham on Nautilus never hurt anybody, usually. I'm 16 on the clock. Yes, almost the first kill, double flash.
So if he is going Rod of Ages, then my question becomes, who on Enemy is going to be the one to build the Aegis of the Legion? Right now, it looks like Nidalee is definitely not, because he's got a blasting wand. So it falls the body drop, I think.
He's on 300 gold.
I mean, Flares could go to it after his Rod of Ages and just build it now, but it will be coming in a bit late. Maybe body drop makes it his priority.
Great pressure from Enemy here as TSM gets to the turrets. A nice buster shot backwards saves Turtle's life. Remember, you didn't build that armor, Flares. You got that Rod of Ages. Very, very close to actually getting himself taken down there if Turtle was able to jump in for that, but he also a little dark on his left side, only a few wards, keeping him safe. The same thing's happening on the other side of the map. Looks like a little bit sooner for Enemy here as they're able to get another turret for themselves. Flares forced to back off of this. I thought that was actually going to get him killed if Turtle jumped in there. Scary situation, but the same thing happening on both sides of the map. Nobody goes down.
Good individual play there from Turtle. He does have a level up on Flares as well, so Tristan at level 10. He was able to use both disengage tools that she has in her kits, keeping himself safe and remaining there to go aggressive and answer the turrets. That's the thing that I was watching for in Turtle's play. Because of how much criticism he's gotten, how many times people have reprimanded him for playing aggressive, I was very worried that he would stop making aggressive plays and he would stop playing forward, but he was able to walk the line this time, keep himself safe, and still remain around to take the objective, not allowing Flares to bully him out, knowing that Nautilus had burned his damage up front, and then taking that window as he's walking back to trade the damage and grab his turret.
Playing it much more logically over emotionally. Coming out on top. Still has his flash as well. Kudos to him. 175 to 166 for the AD carry is actually looking up and down the CS list. Very close in its differences. About 10 on one side, and then the mid laner of Enemy has 10 on the other. A good attempt, but Wild Turtle coming up with a farm. Last hit extraordinaire. Gold still even. Very impressive game by Enemy here versus Team SoloMid. Especially with the amount of kind of strength Dyrus put into that last statement we heard before the game. We'll take down anybody. Just because the way it is. We won't practice for him. It'll happen. Well, it looks like Enemy has been able to throw a curveball here at Team SoloMid, and they weren't ready for that.
Well, Team SoloMid are about to turn on. They are the ones who are first to the Aegis of the Legion. Their team fight is strong. They have the Luden's Echo and spell penetration coming in for Bjergsen already. So Bjergsen poke really going to start to burn now, and it will only get worse from here on out. So now is the time where TSM are coming into their own. They will not want to give up any more advantages to Enemy. Let's see if they set up some vision for the Dragon. Number 3 is actually fairly significant. The move speed is going to be a bit bigger of a deal. And at this point in the game, you really start wanting the 6% from Dragon number 1. So not only the denial here for TSM, but also it would be great for them to get that first buff.
Yeah.
It definitely depends all on Bjergsen's aim, though. Landing poke before this comes up. And if he can force Inox back to base. Inox does have plenty of potions, though. 4 biscuits in his inventory.
He stopped at Grandma's house before this game.
Oh, players once again looking for a deep teleport play.
Same TP. Coming in from the back here.
Turtle's got flash and heal.
You're going to see how equal gold separated into different items for both teams. Who made the right decision here? Missed the anchor toss on Turtle. Turtle flashes over the initial passive auto attack as well. And it looks like they're going to back off into this one. As I was just saying, this is really a game comes down to how you spent your money in your inventory. That, like you said, Kobe, the Aegis on one side and not on the other. These teams are working with the same amount of cash flow just about, and TSM looks to be working it better with the timing of their composition. Bjergsen coming up nice with the living artilleries. Taking out body drop.
Target number 1, he burns the double summoners off Inox, and then target number 2, body drop, goes down for giving him the black shield. Bjergsen, this is what I was talking about, the AP Kog'Maw.
Turn it on.
Fully online and operational. TSM make the move. Boom. Take down 2 turrets mid.
Yep.
There's your gold swing. TSM now comfortably in the lead. Plus, the Baron is dark for enemies, so they have to be a little bit cautious. The blue orb active here from Otter. Scrying orb is used just in case. But they are going to have to get some wards down eventually here in the area. 21 minutes in, TSM definitely threatening neutral objectives as well.
Gotta be pretty careful on where the teleport can also come from Dyrus here. A lot of deep wards on the side of enemy. That Dyrus can get exactly one of these TPs we've been seeing players do.
Yeah, plus he has home guard, so if he goes back to the fountain,
yeah, we'll keep an eye on that.
Then it would be a guaranteed engage from a Maokai with home guard and flash. Plenty of deep wards. That would be very, very easy to pull off. But enemy are able to take the turret in time as TSM have to recall there.
Yep.
Purchases with everyone else. In comes the makings of Leandries for Bjergsen. Rushing straight into that after it was buffed on this patch.
Yeah, it stings now. A little bit more of the AP. Pretty good. Nobody ever disliked that. The Aegis slowly being built up here. And body drop's going to actually opt for the health instead of going for that rejuve beat. Definitely a good choice as he makes his way to the full item, getting those recipe buys in. Another Abyssal Scepter finished up now for Inox. Just got that item under his belt as they continue to finalize a few of the core items that TSM has really already had up on enemy, and it's causing these fights to go their way. Just that last fight of Bjergsen in the tower pushes equaled out the gold with a bit of a 300 lead in favor of TSM now. No dragons for them either. They've been completely fine with letting those go and still have been able to control the map.
Yep, they were waiting for not only the AP Kog'Maw, but another anchor goes wide.
Getting them calibration anchors.
But Dyrus has built completely for the team here, rushing to the Aegis of Legion for them, which allows Lustboy to upgrade to that talisman that we talked about. The speed from Janna was going to be so important for them. Lustboy spent all of his money on the team mobility, upgrading captain's boots, as well as the Talisman of Ascension. This talisman, the cooldown is so short on it. It is a ridiculously strong mobility tool for the team. And with him taking on the speed duties, Dyrus has taken up the Aegis of the Legion duties. So all of TSM really playing to the strengths of each individual player here and spreading out the duties, I guess. Dyrus has taken up Magic Resist only duty.
So good steal. That's going to hurt Bjergsen to try to get these living artilleries out consistently. I was going to say that might also be a face check, though, if they walk back into lane. Otter gets himself out of a scary situation, however, with a ward just in front of him. So wards placed in the lane by NME as they try to keep TSM at bay. But actually, TSM has all the control they want over Baron right now. And they're just saying, all right, let's play this game of back and forth. Yep. You're just going to take poke.
Very scary for NME to try and have a 5-on-5 team fight with TSM. We mentioned the robustness of their front line. If Dyrus teleports in, him plus Santorin, there'll be plenty to keep the poke from Bjergsen firing. And NME, they're going to have to look to blow somebody up here. Inox does have an Abyssal Scepter. Try and get in there. It will be more short range. Whoa. TSM going to start off that Baron. It is dark for NME, but
Lustboy half HP because of the Baron shots. Howling Gale goes out. Looks like they're gonna have to peel off just a bait. I have to watch Dyrus TP. Could get stopped by flares in the bot lane. Both of them have that chance, but Dyrus is backing off for the TP if necessary.
Yeah, the play I would really like to see is TSM bait the 4-man squad of enemy over to the Baron, and then look, this deep ward that they have in the lane,
he is backing,
halfway up mid lane would be the perfect point for Dyrus to cut off the 4-man squad.
Yep.
He's in base right now.
Oh, don't run against the wall. That's the worst place to run. You're only giving them an idea of where you can go.
Oh, man. Dyrus was in the fountain with home guards channeled right there. That ward is what I thought he was going to use to cut off Nidalee.
That would have been great.
But they do not pull the trigger. The ward is gone.
Very, very patient.
It dies of old age.
Doesn't happen too often in League, but sometimes they just have to go. It's like TSM still playing the bushwhack game, waiting for a wrong move. Body drop doesn't look like he'll be in too much trouble over the wall. He gets a nice ward in for himself, and he's able to get some deep wards in on Baron. So at least enemy has an attempt now to figure out how to position around the Baron. Things got a little less stressful for them right there, but they still have to figure out how to open up the map again versus Team SoloMid. They are playing very skittish anytime TSM approaches a fight.
20 seconds on that dragon. This is number 4. This is where it really starts to burn for TSM. And they're not in position for this number 4, so I guess they're going to have to wait till number 5?
Well, it starts to burn at number 5.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
You get a little tingling down there at number 4. All right.
So what?
Are they going to make their way
dragon? I get it, yeah.
Are they going to make their way into? It looks like they are going to face check this Fog of War and try and run him off.
Oh boy, good gravity field. That was
3,000?
a very nice gravity field, slowing things down a little bit. That's going to be going over to Trashy. They hightail it out of there. Flares teleports in, and he's actually left out to dry, but TSM does not want the fight. They want the pressure, but they might just want Baron in the end here. Enemy has dipped down to the bottom of the map, and TSM's going to go for a foot race to the top.
That was great for Enemy, though. They've got number 4. That was critical for them. Now they have so much pressure on Dragon number 5. 6 minutes in. We will see the repercussions of that play. Enemy, though, during that entire time they're waiting for the next dragon to come up, they are going to have to worry about these Baron baits, because TSM have focused a lot of their vision control on the Baron area. Most of their pink wards are in this area. They've got 3 centered around it, and they're trying to force Enemy into face-checking scenarios so that they can land some Bjergsen poke and then go offensive.
Oh boy. They got to be aware of the Luden's procs as well. A few of that damage hitting Trashy was doubled up. He's getting hit pretty hard.
Dyrus down bottom is making a lot of headway with the minion wave, so that one's going to crash and create some pressure bottom. It looks like it's enough to draw Enemy back. They want to go and handle the side waves.
Yeah.
That's going to open up a Baron bait and a little bit of pressure from TSM. They can try and draw them in.
Hopefully they can stave it off, paying a little bit for focusing on that dragon so much without being able to clean the lanes up. Should be back in time. This, however, giving TSM a little bit of their own freedom. Roam around, however, they are on wards. Still going to try and get enough in to make some plays. And here Otter could find himself caught out, but there's no slow for Bjergsen. It doesn't look like it. That might be a Rylez, but it's far off if it is.
I think that you definitely get one in the build.
Right.
It is personal preference if you want to upgrade your tier into your staff first, or if you want to get your Rylez first. I would definitely vote for the Rylez just because, yes, it is less AP, but the slow is so effective at chasing down kills, because once you land a single artillery, it's so easy to land consecutive ones when you have Rylez.
Especially with this team that TSM has now.
And
Lust Boys speeding everybody up.
Yeah, and it doubles the effectiveness of that Leon just burn, so.
Heck yeah. He has been stacked for quite some time on that tier. He's waiting to transform it if he wants to at this point. So Bjergsen sitting quite well with the only kill on the team, the only kill for Enemy over to Flares after that first engage onto Dyrus. So Enemy with the idea in the beginning of the game may not panned out as fast as they wanted it to, and now they really don't have an entry into the fight. It's about what can they do. TSM has them walking to the beat of their drum. So Enemy has to get themselves back into a position where they can dictate the game. Right now, just on the receiving end until Dragon number 5.
They're so vulnerable. Right now they're grouped as 5 though. They're trying to move up the mid lane and try and break through this TSM wall, but they're unable to do so. Dyrus continues to chip away at the bottom turret down there. Every time Flares tries to move up with the rest of the team and they make a 5-man press, Dyrus gets a little bit more damage on that bottom turret. He also has setting up some vision for himself in the red side quadrant so he doesn't get collapsed on. But TSM, they have yet to really pull the trigger. Yes, Kog'Maw is getting more and more powerful, but I think they had the tools to do it a little earlier. The door is definitely not closed for them, though. It only really takes one big team fight if enemy are able to crack through and catch TSM off guard. Ooh, Turtle gets that one, I think.
If we start getting to 40, 45 minutes or so, with the way TSM kind of had control of this, 10-6 to a 4-12, and TSM feeling so confident about these, then they might need to close out the game. Keep letting this go very long. They can't rely on that every time, especially once you get into playoffs. You're going to be in a best-of series. If you try to win each game at 40 minutes, it's going to be very, very stressful.
TSM are happy with their scaling, so that there is that. But, yeah.
Got that clock to wait on for now.
We'll see, because Dragon is quickly approaching. TSM were not able to make much use of the Baron pressure. Enemy have almost weathered that storm. 1 minute 30 seconds till that number 5 comes up, and that will be huge. Yes, I guarantee a team fight in 1 minute and 20 seconds, Riv.
That's a have to. Gonna have to. I agree with you there.
I guarantee it.
Or your money back.
But you haven't given me any money, so...
That's right, so you get it back.
Turtle hopping in. He wants to go aggressive. He's got backup. That's why he's going so aggressive.
All right, so even already off of this, depth charge down for the Dragon fight in 1 minute. That's going to help out a little bit. Otter sitting in the top here. They thought they had something on the mind. There's a teleport in. Oh boy, they are really putting themselves in the fire here. Living Artillery is such long range for them to get into this. It's going to be 4,000. A Living Artillery is going to be the only thing. What a move from enemy. Can they get out of this one alive, though? Avoidus is going to persistently slow the entire team. That means Otter's on the back line. That's a great engage from Santorin. Wild Turtle picks up the kill on the last shot, and that's 40 seconds for TSM to get what they want.
One kill for Baron is huge for enemy. There was almost no way they were going to get that otherwise. Showing 3 members bot for TSM and enemy with a great decisive call there for the team. What a pickup for enemy. They're able to get the Baron off, but 13 seconds here on Dragon.
Have to worry about bottom wave as well after this. It looks like it'll get slowed down a bit, but it should still continue to push in favor of enemy. They're going to push mid lane, put pressure on it, and TSM has to worry about Dragon.
Yep, it's all about the poke here. Is Bjergsen going to be on point? TSM started up. They want to force this one.
Gonna have to force it, Kobe. This is getting tense right now. Just 1,000 gold separates these teams. Enemy now 1,000 above Team SoloMid. 5th Dragon in the game, and it looks like there will be no attempt to go in. Enemy knows losing the Baron buff is a huge struggle over not getting 5th, and they are not able to get it. Santorin able to pick that up for the team as Flares also walking Team SoloMid off an objective. What a focus here by TSM. That would have been huge and cost a lot more time, but they come up with the kill.
All right, so TSM just got their 6% plus denying number 5 from enemy.
And 6% now feels
nice. Plus running up mid lane without the main tank there. Flares on the other side. Maybe some miscommunication on enemy's side here, and now
got that bottom wave still kind of crashing in. Someone made a worry about it, but they wanted to see what they could do in the mid lane. Ooh, indeed. I like enemy's idea, though. Not throwing themselves all in to lose Baron just for Dragon 5. Would have been awesome, though.
It
would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome if Flares didn't go in and die, too.
Well, that, too. I like this chase. He had a great idea to keep him kind of strung out there.
So Jinx is in base. There's no reason for Flares to try that, because Jinx is in base.
That's true.
So there's no way that they're going to even do a 5-on-5. There's no way they're going to commit to it. Flares has no possibility of stealing the Dragon. He has no possibility of solo killing Bjergsen.
Well, I like the play. Definitely a mistake in the initial engagement.
Well, they still have Baron buff.
They're still pressuring as hard as they can. They want to get use out of this. It's about 3/4 down, about to lose it soon. And they are getting one final push. Otter off to the left side, but he could also get picked out there. No peel for him. Dyrus is the focus. Gets back with Vengeful Maelstrom on. There's the Mega Rocket taking it down. Nicely done onto Dyrus, and they are going to start moving on.
Now
be able to get a little bit of pressure.
without the front line.
Should be able to get a little bit of pressure onto this turret. That minion should help them. Unfortunately, with Baron on it, doesn't get close enough, and now it does, only for a few shots. Very nice rocket coming in from Otter to finish off a kill there. 2-3, 35 minutes into this one.
The back and forth here, Riv. What a tight game that we have between NME and TSM. Very big.
Strong play. What are these guys facing as well? TSM goes into Cloud9 tomorrow. Dignitas for NME, so still some games that could throw a loop or throw them a curveball.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was looking at Cloud9 and Teammate, right, for their battle and their struggle to try and make it into 7. Technically, NME, if they can win all of their games, still got a shot as well. It's just that people didn't expect them to be able to win all of their games. Looking pretty good here versus TSM, though. Better than many expected.
Yeah, for sure.
And the burst there from the Victor combo to find themselves 1 kill and a turret. Gonna be difficult here, trying to weather the storm of artillery, though.
Really, it came down to a nice early game from NME, as well as TSM, but they mirrored each other. Every turret almost exactly for the first 2 on each side. And now pretty much mirroring each other, 2 turrets inside the base and 1 outer on the side of the map here. 5 for each team, 4-1 in Dragon still, so that timer of 5th Dragon is still a very big point in this game. NME has lost Baron just a few minutes ago, and TSM is going to be able to take control after that, as you can see. That turret is down as they pressure onto the final outer ring of turrets. TSM looking to put their foot down here.
Oh!
Once they get there, Tristana really able to crush them down, especially if you don't have Inox's laser to clear these waves. You don't have much else other than Otter's rockets and Tormented Soil, and that's not a whole hell of a lot of wave clear in a safe position.
For NME, they basically have to burn through the front line as quickly as possible.
Oh! That could have been a dead flares. Thank God TSM was not ready, he's thinking, to go back and engage. Also a pretty tanky Nautilus wouldn't be something they want right away. Top wave's getting pushed out. It looks like TSM's gonna focus mid here as they get this one in. They should be able to go back bottom if they want in time. Timers, however, both 1 minute and 30 on Dragon and Baron.
Yeah, you have to be really, really careful right now.
Yep.
Uh-oh, Flares goes all the way in.
Lustboy, that's not who he wants, so remember the amount of disengage that NME has. They use a bit, and it even picks up kills. Double kill for Wild Turtle. NME was sitting under their turret. Why go out now?
I don't know. Because it's not going to work out in their favor. TSM should be able to get an inhibitor off of it.
Yeah. Only a few things to gap close for this team, really, and Flares just left everybody behind him when that anchor toss hit, kept in line with the rest of the crowd control of TSM, and now they continuously stop Dragon after Dragon. They should be able to home guard out of base and get back in time.
That pressure wears on you when you have to play versus a poke comp that's so hard to engage on. Players
want those moments.
He spent so much time waiting.
Yeah.
The problem for him is that Nautilus is so unforgiving if you mess up the engage, because of the fact where you'll be drawn in if you hit terrain and you miss your anchor on someone as well, or even if you hit it, you get drawn halfway in. So
at this point as well, you have to be a little more creative. TSM is looking for those. You missed one of the bot, you actually missed 2 of the bot, hooked himself out of the base and then back in. And it's almost like Lustboy put himself there for that.
All right, well, let's see if they can make it happen around Dragon, because number 5 back on the table. Who got that crab?
Looks like it went over to Trashy. He just used his smite, so that went down. Santorin does not have his out. Yeah, it was very big for them to get the movement in here, especially against the Talisman team that we've been talking about. That cannot get on it to him, unfortunately. Not enough gap close. Inox still tries to go in hard. They don't have enough vision over the wall to see where TSM could re-engage from. And a hell of a nice block there in the choke point back into the jungle, but they just gave up that pressure, even though they have Scuttle on to Dragon.
No all-in commitment on the pick on Turtle there, so TSM gonna be able to take away another Dragon here, unless it's stolen by NME.
Okay. Bjergsen in a bad spot.
That's the one they do not want to be taking fire.
Yeah.
It allows enemy to push back up as well. They're going to come for the steal.
Oh, Trashy's smite is down
they're coming
right
for
now.
Dyrus.
They're still going to go for the fight. Dyrus actually very low. Santorin trying to get the backline peeled off of his team, and they're low now. There's the rocket going in. Dyrus very close to getting excited again for Otter. Lustboy pushing in. Great living artillery coming in. You can see the poke and spread from Ludens hitting everybody and crushing health bars. Bjergsen, no blue buff, but he does have that Sorcerer Elixir. Say easy as they back off of the fight. A little crazy.
They better get back and heal for this Baron.
Yeah, they stopped 5th Dragon is pretty much the big thing for Team SoloMid there. This is going to be even bigger now. Who gets Baron? Where's the pressure come from? Oh, the no-look laser to the left, but he doesn't even need it as he zeroes out Bjergsen. 55 seconds on these death timers.
He lost track of Inox. They had wards on both sides of that tiny banana brush.
He's turned around.
But he forgot he was in there or thought he had recalled out of it, and Bjergsen goes down. 40 seconds for NME to try and make a play without the AP Kog'Maw that is all of TSM's squad.
Aren't crushing this.
No, but TSM aren't even
no pressure.
Considering
no pressure, no pressure,
it.
no pressure.
They're going to try and backdoor this bottom inhibitor. Instead, that makes no sense. Baron empowered recalls will make that a non-factor. This push will do nothing for them.
Right.
Woo! NME strikes back.
Pulling out all the stops this game for sure. 4 out of 6 dragons. Still looking for number 5 and second Baron of the game.
They keep coming up short on the 5th dragon, but they get Baron consolation prize, which is a pretty good consolation prize.
The ring pop comes up to play again. No more spider rings. All right, so empowered backs. Enemy getting what they want. Back onto the field. Let's go. Looks like we're also getting a Righteous Glory built up here for body drop, so they get a little of initiation for themselves. Actually, 2 Righteous Glories. Flares has 1. They have been having a little bit of trouble closing the gap on a Dark Binding or getting in there with Flares, so maybe it's an answer that they need.
Yeah. So, yeah, the issue for NME is not really that they can not start a fight, it's that they can't start a fight on a target they want.
That's true.
So Flares has had he really...
Credit to TSM.
Yeah, Flares is going to have to use all the speed he can get to try and get a good position for his initiation. And they have been able to melt through the front line. It's been a battle of who can melt through front lines quicker. Dyrus has been going down at about the same time that Flares does. Last fight, it was actually Santorin who was the casualty, and Dyrus was able to tag team and swap out and escape. But very close frontline fights here. Enemy have the gold lead as well as pressure up top. Their side wave is working its way towards the outer turret. They should be able to grab an outer turret. Those are much easier to take, as TSM would put themselves in a much more vulnerable position in defending it. It looks like they're going to try and rotate up and do that.
Yep.
Big wave to work with, though.
All right, Baroned up. Let's see what they got. Huge shield going on top of the Iron Solari shield. The turret already has passively.
Otter's actually
not even taking damage yet.
Otter's actually attacking Dyrus.
He got it finally. That's actually very big for them to break the shield. Taking it off of Team SoloMid as well. Turtle has his Bloodthirster shield built up, so he can take a few hits if he keeps stepping to the front line. But not much traded onto the turret. TSM doing a great job.
Oh,
Depth charge goes off onto Dyrus. Wow, absolutely shredded down. They cut the tree out. 60+ seconds on these timers. Definitely enough time for enemy to get themselves in. It happened on the outer turret. It becomes a little bit harder now that the walls pinch in these inhibitor turrets. And it looks like enemy will be stopped here. It's going to be hard to clear these Baron minions, though, if Turtle cannot step up.
The poke continues to land, and it actually will be enough to force them back. But man, Dyrus just gets melted here.
It seems like he has his resistances pretty much, just not a lot of HP.
There's nothing he can do. Well, not a lot more he could do.
Right.
Maybe Banshees would do more than Spirit Visage.
Cancel it out,
Just because a lot of it is coming in burst, and blocking a whole spell.
That's true. That's a good point.
Is more than, you know, boosting up his passive heal from the auto attack. He's not really getting much chance to get off a passive heal, but there's definitely no, he's doing everything he can here. It's just that enemy are packing a lot of damage. They both have Void Staffs as well. Italy as well as Victor both have Void Staffs, so good luck.
You like shields with your shields. Bjergsen just finished his. So he will be able to use that Seraph's Embrace now to keep himself nice and healthy in these fights. It looks like Banshee's Veil, you're just talking about it. Wow, Turtle picked himself up one.
Yeah.
To stop that damage. So it's definitely on the minds of Team SoloMid. That's a ghost coming from, oh no, he's good.
Yeah, it's that Talisman. We talked about how great Talisman is for poke comps for both, for the disengage there. It's a much lower cooldown than Righteous Glory as well, so it will be back up in time to use again.
I was just thinking of Bjergsen's distortion boost. So I'm like, oh, he goes all willy-nilly. It'll come back up. It'll be up. Oh, no, flares! Same spot, same situation. This time the team is there, though, not in base. They're able to help him. Very scary.
He got his flash.
Good heals from Trashy. Gets Inox back up to full. That can help them dodge out on this poke here, but they got to stop walking around together in this group. It could mean a lot of AoE damage from Bjergsen's Living Artillery.
Seconds.
He also doesn't have blue buff, something to make note of, so it's not going to be Living Artilleries all over the place.
Side wave control for enemy is good once again. They've got bottom lane pushing. TSM looking to fight though.
Yeah.
They've got him cornered.
We'll make it to your base before you do.
Are you going to choose for the Dragon? Enemy will go straight up and grab an inhibitor if you go back for Dragon. Enemy, are they going to tank it here? They need flares up at the front.
If Dyrus gets there and he just kind of disrupts a little bit, I'm pretty sure they can make some crazy moves.
Oh,
Turtle's going to pick up the Dragon. They're not going to realize it's already a 5v4. They're going on with the full team coming in onto this. That's a lot of damage to the turret. It is dropped, and Team SoloMid's going to have to now assess this. How are they going to enter? Turtle's quite far away. 5v4. They have a chance to exit the base freely. A nice spear coming in from Trashy. He's popped up by the Howling Gale, and it's still not a full engage. TSM can almost try to get themselves back into this, but they have to worry about bottom side of the map still. Getting pinged out there by enemy. They figured they might have just ran the wrong way.
Well, they're still taking artillery shots.
Yeah, something's got to happen here for one of these teams. They are on opposite sides of the map, and they seem a bit confused.
Dyrus teleporting back in.
Home guard, he's gonna come flying across. The wards have been placed by enemy to keep them safe, waiting for that to wear off. Pops the home guard so Dyrus can't continue the speed. And Otter had the black shield. A great job by Body Drop to save the 80 carry. This is gonna keep going. Chaos Storm over the wall, and it is raining on TSM's parade right now, but not that much damage in the end. They're gonna move out. Are you guys gonna fight? Or are you gonna dance? Come on! 57 seconds on the clock. They decide to back off. That bottom wave needs to be cleared.
Oh man, enemy with the surgical operation there. Get in, take out the inhibitor, and fight their way out of TSM territory. Dyrus, can you do it? Yep, Jetta Shield.
End of the hour.
Lessboy's gonna come in and ensure that the turret stays upright. But for how long, Riv?
That was a tease and a half. Dude.
Yeah, so, whew. Ridiculous play between TSM and enemy here. Trading Dragon number 5 for the inhibitor. Enemy decide to go up the middle, and TSM indecisive whether they want to actually force it while enemy are tanking the inhibitor turret.
Yep.
Which would be the time to go for it. Even 4 versus 5 to try and pressure in. They've got the crowd behind them, and TSM are up to Dragon number 3 now as well for themselves, so they've got speed boost.
All right, the chance has been out. Let's see if it is the rally call for Team SoloMid, now down 3.5 thousand gold. They'll turn the cap sideways and upside down. If they can rally back into this one. They've been pushed back into their base now. An inhibitor down and an exposed inhibitor on the side of enemy waiting to go down. TSM ready to pressure the Baron. They had control over it the whole time. The only 2 times they've left, enemy has been able to pick it up. So I don't think TSM's going to give up the position this time.
Yeah, enemy going to shove up the mid lane, though. They've got super minions that will march up the line for them as they try and push in onto TSM. Trashy is fairly heavy AP, though, so even though it looks really bad when he gets hit with an artillery like that, he can heal it almost all the way back up with a single heal. An enemy using those Nidalee heals the entire game to try and counter the poke that from Bjergsen that does land.
Yep.
He has to be worried about the hard engage.
And TSM probably thought they were coming in here to get an 11-6 and be tied for first place now that Gravity lost their game, but it is a much harder task than it seems today. Enemy has brought their A
All right,
game.
they're forcing it. Here comes the teleport.
50-minute Baron attempt. TP from Flares is going to be right with the team. They don't really have control over any type of routing or getting around the fight. They're going to watch TSM take this down. That's going to be Dyrus's Chaos Storm in the middle, but it's not really doing a lot of damage. That's a hit up, however, on to Lustboy. He's down. That's a lot of the disengage. Talisman of Ascension was already used, so you're seeing what TSM has now in the fight as they take it. Bjergsen coming up with a big kill onto Inox. They are still back and forth, though. Great positioning and mechanics by both teams, getting one member but not being able to get the next as they disengage. It looks better for TSM here, but what can they set up?
Oh, they get hooked back in. It's not over, Riff.
Crazy. They go in. That's going to be Turtle with some shots. What a crit from Otter. They know they can't go any farther forward with that front-end damage. And Dyrus is forced to clean up the bot wave. It's going to be Baron. He should be with the team quite soon and get that pushed up quite far. What an intense game here. Down to the last minute it's going to come here. I feel like it's going to be a push on both sides. We had some crazy crap going on in EU. I hope we start off here today in NA with it as well.
All right, so Inox right now, I would advise him to sell Static Shift for Phantom Dancer. All right, well, let's take another look at this replay. Body Drop flashes in for the bind, and Chaos Storm whiffs on Turtle. So I thought that was going to be huge. But Inox comes up with a big combo on Lustboy instead, so it doesn't even matter. He bursts out to support. And TSM on the retreat here, but the turn with Bjergsen's AoE. Oh, man, that was a 3-shot from Bjergsen. And Inox ends up going down.
Whew. All right, breathe. And we're back.
Oh, he did just that.
We got like 7 minutes, Kobe, and it's going to be our longest game of the split. Or a summer split.
It's really looking like it.
Look at this by Flares. Flares with the banner of Commander. Very nicely played by him. We'll see if they can play really off the ball here. Him being in a lane, being able to teleport out after that if necessary, and use it to their advantage. A lot more core items being finished up on both sides. Look like the AD carries have now mimicked each other all the way down to home guards, which Turtle is waiting to pick up so far on the base defense.
Yeah, he did sell his Static Shiv, fully upgraded to the Phantom Dancer now, so he's
good call.
Maxed out. The Jinx is going to provide more DPS for extended fights, but Turtle does have the mobility advantage and the burst advantage. Poke doesn't land. Yes, it does! Oh, and a crit to boot!
Blocket of the Iron Solari went on, but everybody flashed out that actually needed to get it. There is a banner of command minion running around somewhere, but TSM's getting everything they want. They go all the way to 5, Kobe.
They're going to reverse sweep Dragon 5 here.
I've never seen that.
TSM are going to try and reverse sweep the Dragon 5. They've gotten all 4. They've held 4 times against enemies number 5.
I will be one salty camper if this game ends before that can happen.
I don't even know how many Barons have been taken. At least 3. Maybe more.
This is by far our best barn burner. This is a hot game right now.
Turtle's even gone as far as to sell his boots and pick up the Zephyr, which I know that Freak hates.
Turtles don't even wear shoes anyway, so he's good to go. He's getting back into his environment. He's got to feel natural.
Turtles don't exactly use swords either, so.
You don't know that.
Ninja Turtles do.
Yeah! And they don't wear shoes. Valid. See? Logic. That's all you need.
All right.
That's why we're on this desk.
Let's see what comes of it, because I don't. Oh man! All right. So the Zephyr, the only real advantage would be if somehow his Banshees gets popped and he gets hit with a binding. That'll reduce the time that he is stuck in place from the binding. But that's about it.
Yep.
All right, well, it's not about item builds at this point. It's about the team fight, because this Turtle is bouncing
by himself
on a knife's edge.
Just walks into the base. Honey, I'm home. It seems like NME actually wants to finally do something about it. As their inhibitors to half, that's a binding that hits Santorin. Sticks his belly out in front to save the Banshee's Veil of Turtle.
They got it.
And Turtle solos an inhibitor with a teammate right behind him. Teams, I should say. And NME just kind of staring that one down. Baron still has a bit of time here. 5th Dragon still a bit. And double wards all the way to keep TSM safe as they start pushing forward. What a game we have on our hands here for Game 4. 54 minutes coming up on the clock, and we're only 6 to 7 here in these kills. I think we had 18 the last time these guys faced in about a 35-minute game. Flash for flash. Fast fingers from both players there to get themselves into a good spot and then to safety.
done on Bjergsen could be huge. Flare sees him. He's got eyes on Bjergsen. There's not the ghost. I was fooled almost like you were fooled.
Put on the emergency
talisman.
brakes.
It was the talisman active. All right, the siege continues. Can they withstand the barrage?
All right, that's Turtle getting forward. Still has the Banshee's Veil. You see how effective that is getting popped along with the Bloodthirster shield after, so he can take some extra damage. And everything's right as rain right now for these guys. That's a binding. Is it a follow? Depth charge? No, nothing. That's a buster shot, though. A big ult from Wild Turtle. A bit of that. The depth charge did go out. You all right? And it looks like they're just going to have the inhibitor. It was enough for TSM to want to get inside the base, and they're slowly, finally able to start dismantling enemies' forces, taking down their objectives, and they have indeed put on the rally counter. I thought Santorin wanted an engage. Otter definitely out of position for a second there, but gets the safety.
Yeah, good thing there is no rallies because he's still at boost speed to walk away.
But that would be a buy. Looks like
Toledo.
Could
Two
still be there.
inhibitors down now. 55 minutes into the game.
We're getting there, Kobe.
What's Flair's doing? He's going for Bjergsen. They want to cut him off. He's got no flash, just the ghost to work with.
Oh,
he's
over the wall. Can they get him? Oh, the binding misses, but there's enough DPS. Let's see. All right, he goes down. 75 seconds on everybody's timer right now. 18s across the board. The supports are the only 17s in the game, but they'll still be up there. And it looks like TSM's going to have to work around this. They don't lose too much because enemy doesn't actually have the waves to go anywhere. So they're going to figure out what to do. Maybe some wards, maybe this inhibitor. Oh, Turtle!
Turtle's making it work. He's got another one. They're going to have 3 inhibitors.
Okay.
And he's going to recall
Inox is back. Home guards for Inox. He's going to be able to fight Turtle, but will he be able to kill him? Once the laser's down, Turtle practically has no pressure. He goes in on Inox. That's going to be under the turret. Turtle would have wanted to use explosive shot there instead of on the champion, but he's still going hard for it. Now it's enemy in the base on the full screen. We're going to see both sides. A great fight in the top by TSM. Turtle and Inox going 1v1, bro, and it's going to be a great fight. The inhibitor goes down along with the Nexus turret. Turtle coming up big in a solo match in the area by himself. He goes down, but TSM has already won the fight in the base. Kobe, that was 75 seconds on each timer, and TSM's going to be gunning now for the Nexus.
That should be game. They've got 3-1 advantage.
They're not moving
for 50 seconds with the super minions coming on all 3 lanes. TSM, all they have to do is heal and get every single man into enemy's base. Work with the super minions and they can end this one.
I see a smile on Santorin's face.
They know they've got this. They've got plenty of time.
This is going to be chaos right here. Inox, the defense of his life.
There's no way Inox can pull this. If he pulls this off.
It still sounds good to build it up.
Okay. If Inox pulls it, get Inox up there, actually.
Look at that. Look at this. Iron Elixir Santorin coming up.
Let's
Inox.
Let's see the magical moves.
You must first clear the wards. You have to take down the front line before you can get the back line. He's done so. The base is clear of wards, and now the TSM members.
Right.
He throws out the gravity field, but it's not enough. A good flash keeps him alive for that situation, but this is going to be tough. Hard mode 999 is one that is impossible to beat, and TSM turns that on for the end of the game. 57.5 minutes in, Team SoloMid finally break the base and take down NME.
I'm sorry, Riv, there was no 5th dragon.
Oh no, there wasn't!
We got the most dragons taken without ever getting a 5th dragon.
I think dragon's even salty.
Possible.
He'd been loved for so long and then just thrown to the curb. Nobody even wanted that aspect. What a GG coming out, though. Enemy putting everything on the Rift here in Week 9. Unfortunate this was not seen from them throughout the split. What games we could have had there. A lot of love from the crowd for both teams in that one. The TSM chants helping to rally them through. Now 11-6. Very much what they wanted here coming into Week 9.
Whew. Yeah.
It's all right. Take that breath.
I need to get confirmation that was the longest game.
It was very close.
56
56 was our closest, and I know something trounced that the other day as well. So, whew. Still some smiles on the face of enemy, though. Definitely know that they played a good game themselves and came out quite strong. The early game being mirrored so closely, turret for turret. It wasn't even camp for camp either. Teams were taking different camps. TSM had a different start than enemy did, but they came just at the same level towards that mid game. The gold lead was the same, and the dragons were enemies, which it's beyond me how we did not see a 5th dragon. crazy stuff.
Well,
4 and
okay, so I
13
got
now for them.
confirmation that's the longest game in North America,
Right.
but Europe has had longer, so
Yes, sir.
not the entire LCS. Exhausting for both squads.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially towards the middle, when both teams knew that the gold was almost near even. Usually in a game, when you ask players, they'll tell you, you know, we didn't realize we were really up. We maybe just thought we had the advantage. It seemed like towards that red towards Baron, back towards red, back towards Baron fight, they knew they were both equal. And nobody wanted to make the mistake. Nobody wanted to engage. You were saying before, Turtle was showing a little bit of that, but still able to go hard in the games and really helped TSM to pull out the victory. Right now, we're going to throw it over to our analyst desk to break down that wild game.
Thank you, Riv. Wild game to say the least. As Kobe mentioned, longest game of the year, 57-30. We have to go to the final few minutes of this game first, just because of all of the chaos that happened.
Wild ending, for sure.
Very much so a wild ending. How do we feel about the late game, or the shot calls there made at the very end by both teams? Enemy choosing to go for the win there with only Bjergsen down, while Turtle still pressuring the base.
Queasy, maybe?
It was the worst part. It was so crazy.
How do we
I think
feel?
the definition of not worth was pretty much those last few minutes there. Because they ended up going for so much. Like, it was very uncharacteristic because they were doing almost nothing for a very long time. Then it's like, I'm just going to flank. I'm going to kill Bjergsen. They kill him, and then Turtle goes bottom, and then they do this strange trade where, while Turtle's bottom, I'm trying to think
super
if there's
strange game. Like,
if there's an opportunity to actually go around Turtle and just push him into the bottom, are you going to be able to pick up Turtle afterwards?
right. We've been talking about this pretty much ever since we saw the play. Once Bjergsen was killed, with 2 inhibitors down, they don't have that many options. Like, Turtle pulling out that sneak attack in that situation was actually really smart because it takes away most positive opportunities by enemy. The only thing they may have been able to do is if they do want to match with Inox, he's losing the third inhibitor anyway, is to match with the second inhibitor. So then maybe you can play the dead inhibitors game and not get steamrolled afterwards. But trying to end without your main damage dealer, it's not going to work.
It's overreaching.
Yeah. So a tough decision nonetheless, though, and I do feel that in a sense it showcases a bit of the young element of the team in that this is the first split for enemy. Shot calling is a little bit more shaky, whereas TSM seemed a little bit more secure, a little bit more in their win conditions there.
Yeah.
You know, but now let's jump back through the rest of the 55 minutes of the game and take a look at the early game. Enemy up to this point in the split, we have criticized for having a very weak early game. Here, they came out ahead early. And, so that bodes well for them here. But unfortunately, with that loss, they're not vying for that 7th place spot anymore.
Yeah, there could have been a 3-way tie for 7th. There was a possibility for it if enemy won. But to speak to the early game point, a season worth of poor early games, and they play against what has turned into probably the most conservative team in the league with Team SoloMid. And they actually came out with a lead. And honestly, as far as playing the mid and late game, Enemy is not a bottom-tier team in that sense. They are definitely mid-tier, as far as I'd say, in the NLCS, and they kind of showed it in that game, nearly pulling out a win against a really poke-heavy TSM.
Which is a strange thing for TSM, because they pick this team composition that comes online mid-late game. And if Enemy is going to go like really bad early, great mid, but they picked early game champions that scaled a little bit better for themselves. Not better than TSM's comp, but when you match these two up, Enemy ends up being even in gold. TSM, the top-tier team, or near the top of the standings. They're like, well, we're playing this thing where we're going to have actual power slides that are right next to each other, where TSM could probably just play a normal composition and be able to run all over Enemy.
Yeah, it was strange. It seems like maybe that's the only way TSM is playing right now. I hope for their sake they have something else for playoffs.
Well, so yeah, if we look at playoffs, you kind of just answered the question there.
Yeah.
The hope is that we keep seeing TSM kind of go back to this, well, Bjergsen does the majority of the damage on the team. Let's keep putting him in a position to do that. We'll see if they can come out with something new moving into playoffs. I actually do want to go into the weeds real quick, though, with you, Jap, because you mentioned something during the game about the top lane Aegis. So explain to me why you liked this pickup here on the side of TSM.
Yeah, a lot of times teams are letting themselves be constrained in their jungle support picks because they need someone who can build a locket. But in this situation, they didn't have to do that, so they could put the locket onto the top lane Maokai, and as long as he's safe on farm, the jungler or the top laner, if they're both playing tanks, can absolutely do that. I think it would be better if they even had a damaged jungler and a supportive bottom laner like Janna. You can totally do that if you're playing a group up game.
So finding a bit of a workaround for what seems to be a pain point for some junglers and supports around the league. We're going to step away, but meet us back here in 3.5 for our final game of the day, Team Dragon Knights versus Cloud9. Stay with us.
All right, boys. Let's win this one because the round robin would be super hype.
What a move from NME. Can they get out of this one alive, though? Avoidus is going to persistently slow the entire team. That means Otter's on the back line.
Dragon, Baron.
Got him.
Look at him. Look at Mork.
Get by it,
Okay, nice.
We can dive.
Chaos Storm in the middle, but it's not really doing a lot of damage. That's a hit up, however, on to Lustboy. He's down. That's a lot of the disengage.
Okay. We can end off mid lane. We have to try and end it here.
Turtle coming up big in a solo match in the area by himself. He goes down, but TSM has already won the fight in the base. Team SoloMid finally break the base and take down NME.